Good evening and welcome. I'm Evelyn Darling, the Director of Community Development at VATV. Thank you for tuning in to VATV tonight. Today is July 8th, 2015. VATV is the voice of Vietnamese Americans in the greater Boston area. VATV is sponsored by the Vietnamese American Initiative for Development, also known as VATAID. VATV is on live every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the BNN TV network, on Comcast Channel 9 or RCN Channel 15. We're also online at www.bnntv.org. This evening's program will be rebroadcast on the following days: Sunday at 5 p.m., Monday at 1 p.m., and Tuesday at 11 a.m. This is a live call-in show, so if you're watching this show on Wednesday evening, and you have any questions or comments, please feel free to call and talk to us. You can call us at 617-708-3290. That's 617-708-3290. If you have comments that you'd like to give us off the air, please email us at vatv@viataid.org, or you can call us at 617-822-3717. On tonight's show, we're going to feature the entire show in English, and the entire show is going to be focused on the Dorchester Environmental Action Program, otherwise known as DEEP, and the work that the program is doing to clean up and beautify Fields Corner. Our guests on tonight's show are Nia Lee, the program coordinator of DEEP, Trung Pham, one of DEEP's youth members, and Joel Wool, the environmental advocate from Fields Corner and the organization Green Dorchester. Thank you all for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So, Nia, let's start with you. Why don't you tell us, what is DEEP?
Okay, DEEP, which is short for the Dorchester Environmental Action Program, is a youth-led environmental justice program that is actually coming to fruition due to a grant from the Boston Foundation, which we're super honored to have. And this program is also a partnership between the Cleveland Community Center, Green Dorchester, Fields Corner Main Street, and VATAID. So the youth come from mostly the Cleveland Community Center and VATAID. So it's a really awesome program to connect youth who don't usually, who aren't usually able to work on these projects together. So we're super excited that we're able to do that in DEEP. So.
And this is a new program.
It's brand new, brand new. So yeah, it's great.
Great. And so youth, you talked about youth from the community coming together.
Yeah.
What ages?
So the youth range from 13 to 18, but I've been really shocked to see some younger kids come out. We had a few 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds come out and be super interested in what we're doing, but the program is geared towards 13 to 18-year-olds. So, yeah.
And how often does it meet? What
we meet?
A club, or?
It's a club, and we meet once a week, usually every Wednesday. And yeah, we usually meet once a week, and then we may also have some other events that we go to throughout the week or on the weekends. But generally, we meet once a week after school during the school year, and around 5 p.m. on Wednesdays during the summer.
That's exciting. So what are the program's goals? Why was it started?
Well, all of us here and all the members in DEEP are really passionate about empowering youth and making Dorchester a more beautiful, safe, and environmentally conscious place. So we feel that we're able to do that using DEEP and all the partners that are helping us out. So those are the main goals that we really want to touch on.
Yeah. So I want to talk about what are some of the projects that you guys are doing. Why don't you what's it been like to be in DEEP, and what are you working on?
Currently, we are working on the transformation of a community garden, and I think we need this community garden because it's a place for people to come in and they share their experience and they interact with each other and they connect more as a community rather than just individuals. And it is also a place for children to like hang their artwork because children have great artwork and I think they should be proud of their artwork.
So where is the community garden?
It is on Geneva Ave, right across from Fields Corner. So I think that address is 495 Geneva Ave.
Okay.
And it's a small lot, and we're just doing a lot to transform it and really make it a beautiful arts and learning space for the community.
So what did it look like before you guys started working on it?
It was such a mess.
We went there during Boston Shine and we cleaned it up a little bit, but until now things just started growing and it's just like started looking like what it was before.
So I think we might have a photograph of the lot, maybe if we can pull it up. There might be a lot of you guys cleaning it up. So needed a lot of cleanup, and you did a cleanup during Boston Shines. Actually, it looks like we're looking at a picture
of one of our workshops.
Yeah.
Actually, that workshop was about repurposing and reusing. So we took newspaper that would have usually been thrown away and turned it into baskets that you could use to put your news in, put your mail in, put your cell phone in, as whatever you did there. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So that was one of your first projects?
Yep, that was one of our first projects. Just really encouraging youth to think creatively about ways to reuse things rather than throwing them away. So
it's exciting. And how did they like doing
Oh,
that?
they loved it. It was a huge hit. It was a huge hit. I think it was actually right before Mother's Day that we did that. So a lot of youth ended up giving those baskets to their moms for Mother's Day, which was kind of cool. So, yeah.
Trung, were you doing that project?
Oh, I wasn't there in that day, but
Mm-hmm.
like I learned how to do it and it was really fun.
Cool. So getting back to the garden lot, why don't you talk a little bit more about your vision for the space?
I hope that the space will be like good for people to come in and they just enjoy and hang. And kids should be able to hang their artwork because they should be proud of their artwork. And also, this is also a space where people just come together and they just like enjoy their time there because people in the community need to connect instead of just like going to a random place.
So you talk about artwork. What kinds of artwork, or what are you thinking?
We were thinking we could hang some of our volunteers or any other younger kids painting or portraits that they feel like they're confident and they should have, and other people should look at it.
Maybe even some sculptures too, might be cool. Some artists in the area are doing some really cool sculptures using recycled materials. So it would be awesome if we could showcase their work there and kind of combine our passion for environmental justice and encouraging people to recycle with the arts. So that's what we really hope to do with the space.
Joel, I want to pull you into this conversation. Nia mentioned environmental justice. What's your background with environmental justice, and can you tell us what that is and how it affects Dorchester and Fields Corner?
Sure, and maybe Nia can comment too, or Trung if you want to. So I should just say I work professionally as an environmental advocate, and in this project, mostly what I am, I think, is a invested neighbor and resident of Fields Corner. And I think what's amazing about this project in particular and the DEEP program is that it comes out of VATV working with youth, a series of different youth, and those youth saying, we want to work on things like waste and litter. We want, we want art in our community. We want, we want spaces to be in. We think people should be able to showcase their creativity. So that's because that has come up multiple times. There was, the partners were there to, apply for a grant and fund a program that, allowed some collaboration. Getting back to the questions of the environment, so there's some interesting stuff, right? So you have vacant lots, right, like this garden that are properties that are abandoned and can really be put to productive reuse. When they are, more people from the neighborhood, instead of walking on by or ignoring an eyesore, will, maybe come there. Maybe they'll share meals there. There'll be music. this is something that has been, even just down the street, has been very successful in Dorchester, and people love it. When you see, when residents see themselves or see things that they want in their neighborhoods, they're so much more likely to, kind of rejoice and make, productive use of that in a way that's really enriching for a community. So I think in the local sense of the word environment, that's something that's really important. It's the environment, the environment's where people live, work, and play. So you don't have to talk necessarily about the atmosphere to be talking about that sort of quality of life that you can enrich together. Just going to some of the other issues. So Nia mentioned that creative sort of workshops with youth around reusing stuff. One of the other projects maybe they can talk about it is just doing some VATV and Youth with VATV have done some litter audits and also audits of local fields and parks. So it's one thing. It's nice. It's nice to have cleaner streets. It's nice to not have litter in your street. But in the environmental sense, there's a lot more to it, right? So if you're that the trash that eventually goes somewhere, right? Whether it blows down the street or whether if you're putting something that could be recycled into the trash can, it goes somewhere and accumulates somewhere. And that's something that people don't always know the full. In fact, people usually don't know unless there is a landfill in their community exactly where that goes. What happens really is that in Boston, a lot of our waste goes to big landfills and to incinerators, and in one case that's in someone's backyard, just becoming a bigger pile. In the other case, if it's an incinerator, someone's eventually breathing that in. So when you're reducing trash in your neighborhood, you're actually doing a whole lot of things, right? One, sure, if you're not littering, your streets are cleaner. That's nice, and it's pleasant, right? If you're reducing the amount of trash that goes into the ground or goes up into the air, you're actually making people healthier and safer and protecting the water in your community and in neighboring communities. So that's really important as an environmental issue. And what's great is that not only can you do creative art and combine that with projects around reusing land and property in a community, but you can actually create jobs out of it, whether it's youth jobs who are that maybe the city or that other partners, foundations are helping to fund and create, or one other really great example of something right now is there is a cooperative, a worker-owned business right now in Dorchester and Roxbury. It's called Cero, which is Spanish for zero, and they're actually taking food waste from different businesses around Boston, from America's Food Basket, from Northeastern University, and they're turning that into compost, and then someone else, another business can use that to farm. But they've created local jobs out of recycling and waste. So this is a really, going back to environmental justice, right? Some communities are unfairly burdened, is really what it boils down to. There's a technical definition, but it's that some communities are more burdened than others, and that tends to be, lower income communities, communities of color, and those communities also often have, difficulty, lack of employment or difficulty for people to find employment or adequate employment. So, recycling isn't simply, the sticker of, going round and round that you see the three arrows, but it's really something much more. And I think that's what inspires me about projects like this. These really small interventions into a community can bring a whole lot of value.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Joel mentioned the audits that you guys did. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about that project?
So it was one day in the afternoon, and we just went to the park and to check out what is wrong with this park that we're having, because kids go here and adults go here and they all enjoy in this park, but there are certain things that are not safe about that park, so we wanted to address that. And some of the improvement we made is that the people who are agreed to fix the park, they agreed to fix the change on the swing because it was really squeaky, and they agreed to chop off some tree branches because it was blocking the street light from entering the park. And also they put up signs that might help people who are not around this neighborhood to know where they are and what they should be doing and where they.
Mm-hmm. So what was the issue with the trees? Why was it important for you guys to trim the tree branches?
It was really dark when we went out there, and it was like the street light could not shine through the trees into the park. So it was a good idea to like cut off all not all the trees, but like part of the branches, so there more light can enter through.
Did you think it was dangerous? I mean, the park.
I think it was dangerous because people need to know where they're going, especially when they have wood chips under their feet. So I think they should be.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the audit, like how that came about and the results?
Yeah, it was awesome. We were trained on how to do the audit by Harbor Health, a representative from Harbor Health. And he was really awesome and was really great in helping us figure out the best way to kind of document our findings, deliver our findings. And because of him, we were actually able to get a meeting with the Parks Department, which was like a really big deal because to get a meeting with the Parks Department takes a really long time. And they acted really quickly to meet with us. I think that was actually last week or 2 weeks ago. You know, we pointed out some of the issues that we were having in the park with her. And because of our findings, the park has actually become a safer place. Because of our findings, they actually trimmed the tree branches, they're fixing the swings, they're allowing us to repaint the trash cans. So it was just really telling to see how, you know, just our seemingly small little act really positively impacted the community at large. So
that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I think we have some pictures of the youth doing the audit, maybe.
Yeah, I think
pull
so.
that up.
I think so too.
Where you can find them. So what were some of you talked about the trees and the lighting and the swings and the audit. So what were kind of the areas of the audit, and what is Harbor Health? What is their purpose in doing a park audit?
Well, Harbor Health is really big on tackling underage drinking and making sure that youth aren't getting access to underage drinking. So because of the dangerous areas in the park and because of the park's location to the liquor store, there was a lot of opportunity for underage drinking in that park. And because of our work, we're making underage drinking a lot more difficult just because it's a lot more visible now. Before there was a lot of like hidden places and just unsafe places. So, but because of these renovations, that's changing. So it's great.
That's great. And for people who are not familiar with the park, can you describe like geographically where the park is?
It's called Townsfield Park. We all call it Fields Corner because it's like a corner and it's in Fields Corner. So, you know, colloquially known as Fields Corner, but I think it's actually Townsfield Park.
And it's along Dorchester Avenue?
Yeah, along Dorchester Avenue and Park. Is it Park? Yeah. So,
Park Street?
Yeah.
Yep. Great. Anything more you want to say about the park audit, Trung? Okay. Other projects. So you talked about the trash can repainting. That's with that's at the park itself.
Yep.
Yes.
And why do you think? Why is it good to have the trash cans repainted?
From my own experience, I would not like to touch a dirty trash can. So I think repainting the trash can would make it look more noticeable and cleaner, and people would like go there and put trash in there instead of just like, ew, there's a trash can dirty, I don't want to go there. So I think this would really attract them to the trash can and make it more visible for them.
And what does it look like right now? Or when you did the audit, what did the trash can look like?
They are either black or green, but they were really dark and you can't really see them at night, and there were like dirt on the outside and we couldn't really see it that well.
And so what's your proposal for the Parks Department? What's your design proposal?
We were thinking of painting it some lighter color, not too light, but lighter color. And we were thinking of sport themes. So, yeah.
That makes sense. A lot of sports are played in the park.
Yep.
Yeah. The organization
All Dorchester Sports League?
Yeah, All Dorchester Sports League is actually located in the building right in that park. So it'll be really cool to kind of like honor what they're doing in that space, as well as working to make the trash cans more visible. So yeah, I think we're going to go with some sports themes and some brighter colors just so that people have more access to the trash cans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now you mentioned in regards to the garden, the community garden, about Boston Shines and the cleanup. Any of you can jump in. What is Boston Shines? Because some people may not, who are watching, may not have heard of Boston Shines or don't know what it is. Joel, do you want to?
Sure. So Boston runs a great community building event once a year, usually kind of April, May, but it can vary depending on the neighborhood, called Boston Shines, and it's basically neighborhood cleanup. So you'll see neighbors go out wearing T-shirts. It's a little bit of a friendly competition in a way, whether you can, whether your group of neighbors can maybe clean faster and more than the ones down the road. And so it's always fun to pull out more volunteers and to see people around you, whether it's someone at your church or just someone on your street, and to take a section of road or to take a park and clean it up. What's great about having that connected with a youth program or with a community institution is that really it's a cool, Boston Shines is a cool event, but you can't just go out a community once a year and think you're going to solve any problem, litter or anything else, right? So there's a real need to connect it with a longer term and sustainable project. So I think a lot of what Trung and Nia and others are doing is creating. So let's do some let's survey what's in the community and let's work on that. Let's clean it up a little bit. But also what can we invest in that's going to keep people in our neighborhood engaged for a while. And so I think that when you see that connection of activities, different activities, a different youth working together on sure picking up trash, but also actually cleaning up a property that's been vacant for a long time, and figuring out how do we go and get more people involved, and also how do we train more people on issues around trash and reuse in the workshops that are ones like the ones that Nia gave to them. So I think you can go from something like Boston Shines, which is like a fun once a year kind of thing, to a real shift in actually what the community looks like.
I think we have a caller on the line asking us a question.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hi. I live in Dorchester, and I'm a homeowner here. And I'm wondering about how to get tenants and homeowners to have trash cans with lids on them. Because I have an infestation around my neighborhood of rats, and I've caught 3, and they're just really disgusting. I spent so much money on bait, on traps, and those black boxes where you put the bait inside, and it's getting expensive, and not too many people want to handle these rats. I've called the city, and they came out, and they said that they cannot come on in the property and do any baiting. So they suggested that I buy the traps. But I know we're talking about beautification, but first we got to deal with this rat problem. I know there's a lot of buildings going up everywhere, and we had a horrible winter, and the rats probably are confused. But this is just getting really crazy, and I don't even feel comfortable in my yard anymore. I put a nice garden out. I have lounge chairs. I don't even want to go out from 4. Have covers all around me. The people are not covering the trash. I've spoken to them, but there's only so much I could do. And I bought new trash cans. I paid $70. Bidding through the other.
Well,
I just need some suggestions on what we.
I really thank you for your call. Like, your voice is so important, and I really do think that there are strength in numbers. So I think in order to really get your point across, you need to rally your neighbors, rally your community, and make a lot of noise. There are community meetings all over the city every week. And I think it's really important that you bring your concerns to them, because I think then you'll be able to see some real action taking place. So that's my first thing. Definitely get your neighbors together, first of all. Second of all, go to community meetings and make a lot of noise. So,
Joel, you have something to add?
Yeah, I'll jump in. It sounds like you did a couple of things. One, talk to your neighbors initially, and also contacted the city. So probably the inspectional services department. I would definitely keep bugging them, right? But I think one thing with going to, maybe you have a street association in your area, maybe you don't. I think one thing about kind of pursuing the parallel paths is you can, maybe the city needs a better, only residents can help identify problems like this, right? So maybe the city needs a better program or better advice, right, for helping neighbors, residents to deal with things like this. Like Nia said, you're only going to get them to act on that if you have a bunch of people weighing in. So hard to figure out. I don't happen to be the best personal expert on pest control, but I think it's probably a question of rallying a few more neighbors, and then maybe if there's a real problem with just controlling rodents in the area, getting enough people to bring that to the attention of the city, and then figuring out a way to work forward from there.
Also,
Right. Go ahead.
there's the Facebook page called, I just forgot the name.
Clean Up Boston.
Clean Up
Clean
Boston.
Up Boston.
Yeah. So one of my neighbors in Fields Corner created a Facebook group, I think, called Clean Up Boston, and her whole vision is that people can put ideas, both like images of kind of cool things that they're doing to beautify the neighborhood, but also like, I'm experiencing this problem. Can you help, or what are you doing about this? So I think that's one great idea. And the city environment department has this whole thing called Greenovate, which is really designed to, they really want it to be this thing that you can engage with and go back and forth and kind of offer solutions and find them. So I think you can certainly call inspectional services, you can certainly call like the mayor's hotline, but I think bringing stuff like that to the environment department of the city too, and just seeing if they can help convene spaces where people can creatively problem solve is another way to go about it.
Mm-hmm. I think there's also an educational component. I mean, she talked about, trash cans with lids, and
Yeah.
I know that I'm sure the rodent control, they talk about that, like, well, you need to put lids on your trash cans. But she's one person, and so having a whole neighborhood association do an educational campaign of, this is the proper way to store and dispose your trash. And when you see a rat or you see evidence of a rat, here are the numbers to call, so that everybody's really mobilized in the community about that issue.
And it's not always just like private trash cans either.
Right.
You have similar, like, to step away from rats, but even just like some of the way that trash cans are situated, and which kind of bin they're using, like that can potentially, when the wind blows, allow litter to just kind of be picked up out of them. So I know that there's been some good people in public works trying to replace some of the trash cans that are there with things like the solar compactors. You'll see a lot of them downtown, and they're starting to creep into Dorchester and other places. But even just like getting more things like that will help, I think, around the city with less litter. More recycling bins will help with more recycling. I think more closed containers generally will help with rats, but that's sort of my supposition there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. Okay, well, that was an excellent question. Let's move on to, we were talking about cleanups and Boston Shines. And you talked about workshops. So I know you said you had done the first workshop with the recycled paper and making the baskets. What else? What other kind of workshops are you guys doing?
We also did a trash scavenger hunt, which was really fun. So I split the group up into 2 teams, and actually multiple teams, and they went throughout Dorchester as a whole and found different pieces of trash, photographed those pieces of trash, and then reported them back to me for points. And then the winning team got a really cool prize. I think it was like a bag of candy. And so it was really amazing because a lot of the youth were able to see trash in a different way. I think so often we just become really complacent with the way that our community looks. But I had really weird things like, can you find a Barbie doll? Can you find a McDonald's bag? Just really interesting things. And I think one of the youth said, like, I never realized there was this much trash all around us. So I think that was a really effective workshop. We did a similar thing with trash cans.
Well, I want to stay on that because that's really interesting. Did any of the youth find a Barbie doll?
Did they? I don't think they found. They didn't find a Barbie doll, but they found money. So that was one of the trash items. Was like, can you find money? And somebody found $1. Somebody found a nickel. I think there were some strange things people found, but there was no Barbie doll head.
What was the most unique or strange thing that people found? Do you remember?
It was back in the spring, so...
We took a selfie.
Oh, right. Took selfies. Money, I remember that because the youth were so excited about that. Lots of McDonald's bags, lots of plastic bags. That's all I can...
Did you see any patterns, of types of trash or areas where trash were? Or what was the most abundant type of trash item?
I think plastic and paper were the most trash out of that. And I was thinking, why would they throw it in the floor? Because they can still recycle plastic and paper. Mm-hmm. So I think they should redo that.
One of the other things to think about here too, especially if you see, a lot of McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or another business is it's one thing to work on individuals and say, hey, can you recycle more? But also, you can be pushing businesses, whether they're local or, big national, international ones, to be using more sustainable materials or, working with the city or with private property owners to make sure that there's actually trash cans or recycling things around those businesses. If it's often the case around coffee shops, right? If there's no trash can, people will throw the paper or styrofoam cup just down on the ground, because they've drank it and then they exit the door and throw it right there. So, if you notice things like that, these are resolvable problems. They're very small, but it makes a difference, right? It's 10 years of McDonald's bags.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about the advocacy efforts. You guys had such a success with the Parks Department, and I do know that the Boston Public Works Department, like you had said, that they have the solar trash compactors and they have recycling downtown, and they're starting to think about the neighborhoods. But it sounds like there is some interest in the Public Works Department in putting more recycling containers and getting more into the neighborhoods with recycling. You know a little bit about that?
Do you want to speak on that? Or, about putting, more solar?
More solar compactors or more recycling barrels. I think they started in Dorchester, but not
on
in Fields
Geneva?
Corner.
Well, you guys have talked to the city recently, right?
Oh yeah, they also wanted to put more trash can in the park because there were only 2 for a really big space. So they wanted to put more trash in the park, and I really appreciated that.
That's
there
great.
You go.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, I cut you off. You were going to talk about more workshops, so.
Oh, yeah. We did another scavenger hunt around trash cans, so great segue. So basically, I put flags on all the trash cans, I think, in a half-a-mile radius. So the youth broke up into teams and had to kind of find their flag. So we had green team, pink team, yellow team. So they had to find their flag, collect their flags, and then some trash cans had questions on them. So they had to answer the questions on the trash cans and write down their answers. And then also...
What kind of questions?
So a question would be where does most trash go when you throw it away? A, landfill, B, the ocean, C, the beach or something. So questions like that, or what does repurposing mean? what's one item that you can or already do repurpose or reuse? Just like really cool questions that tie into what we talk about every week. And then I also had the youth draw a shape next to the trash can, which correlated with their flag color. So everyone had chalk that matched their flag color. Just kind of show that Deep was here, and for proof, because you got a cool prize if you want. Actually, we have one of the winners here. So yeah, how'd you like that workshop?
It was really fun because I had a really fun time searching for trash barrels, but I was really surprised because not that much were there. So I think there could be more.
And yeah, what was were you able to answer the questions? What was your experience about answering the questions?
It was a really fun activity, not just we sitting on a table doing worksheets and studying about this, but we're actually out there moving and learning at the same time.
So tell me some of what have you learned, or what are some of the things that you've learned?
I learned that it's really long time ago. There are two types of trash. It was 2 types of trash.
Oh yeah. That was one of the questions.
It was
biodegradable.
Oh, non-biodegradable and biodegradable trash. And
do you remember what the difference is?
It was you can recycle, not turn them into other stuff. Yeah, something like that.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
So that was one of the workshops. Another workshop that we did that was really fun, this is way back when we first started, was the Jeopardy game. So I created a DIY Jeopardy board on a chalkboard and had really cool categories like green what, trash smash, just really cool questions. And all regarding things that we're learning, and it was a really cool introductory tool just to kind of, open up the space to what the whole program was going to be about. So, and then we also had wild cards. So, one of the wild card questions was, or wild card activities was to make an interpretive dance around recycling, which was really fun. Another one was to make a rap about recycling and trash, and we found out a lot of our members have some pretty good skills, so that was cool.
I didn't know there was an interpretive dance.
Yeah.
Can you show us one? Like the origami, I don't know.
I wasn't on the team. I wasn't on the team.
So it sounds like we have another caller. Hello, do you have a question for us?
Yes. I know Brookline just banned plastic bags and styrofoam cups, and I'm wondering if that's what you're finding a lot of, whether it's Dunkin' or plastic bags from stores. Would you be in favor of banning stuff like that, so less litter? Because I know that it causes a lot of trash, especially if you're nearby stores and so forth. And would you be proposed for having some form of ban of some sort like that?
Go for it.
I am in favor of limiting the amount of trash, especially plastic bags and styrofoam cups. Those are really difficult to recycle. But I do think that if a ban were to go in place, it's really important to support local businesses because, Dorchester has so many local businesses. So it's really important to support those local businesses and make sure that there are programs in place to ensure that they're able to get new materials. You just don't want to ban something and then leave someone out in the cold, because our local businesses are the pulse of Dorchester, so it's really important.
Yeah, just adding to that, I think it's really important to start phasing out some of the materials that aren't sustainable and materials that really don't decompose. And there's actually a lot, so you mentioned Brookline. Brookline has been one of the communities that's leading on this. There's a big movement to phase out things like plastic bags, like styrofoam cups, but not only can you not just ban something because that might be replaced by something else that's bad, like a thicker bag that also doesn't decompose, but But there is this real need, and actually, when I was talking with Evelyn, with VATV, and with other partners about working on this youth program together, one thing we thought about, one of the partners is Fields Corner Main Street, so that that's basically the Small Business Association, and one of the things we actually talked about was, you really need this kind of active network of community to start transitioning for anything, whether it's trash or anything else, towards more sort of sustainable operations. Part of that is because different sectors of the community and different communities, have different needs, but also because people tend to trust people in their own neighborhoods and from their own communities a lot more. So, if we go and ban styrofoam in the Vietnamese, restaurant that has a lot of takeout, hasn't heard about it or hasn't talked about this issue with, someone who is, lives in that area or is a customer or, perhaps hails from the same ethnic community, you could run into a lot of problems. I really do hope that we start, phasing out some of these materials, but it's going to be a process. I think for people who are interested in doing that, you should really look two ways. One is politically, and the other one is right to your community. And I think if you kind of start to work both of those at the same time, that's how it's going to go. The final note is that Massachusetts, the landfills are actually really filling up. So this is something that we do have to act on, and it's local projects like these are really important to happen all over the state, because otherwise we're gonna start finding ourselves in a crisis moment, and people aren't going to know what to do.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. Do you guys have any experience or knowledge of communities that have started kind of working on these issues and worked with local businesses? Do you know of any like that?
Not yet, but maybe next year
yet.
that'll be deep. So, be on the lookout.
And it's interesting. So Boston, one of the departments is the Office of Business Development. They've taken. So to give one example, Boston did a really great residential home weatherization energy efficiency program, and now on the business side, the Office of Business Development started helping local businesses do similar things, but they also, that's the kind of municipal office that can help support, perhaps through main streets, through neighborhood groups, through people who are multilingual, support in very specific sustainability initiatives. So it's completely possible, and there are other communities that have been doing this, whether it's because the legislation in their community changed and they had to figure something out, but also because often there'll be sometimes in a smaller community, it's just one local environmental group that will really push this at the city level. So whether you're talking about trash or energy or really anything else, it's absolutely possible, and it just needs a little resident leadership.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we only have a few minutes left. So I wanted to ask you, Trung, a few more questions. What interested you in this program? Why did you join the club?
I'm in this program because I want to have an impact on my community, even if it's just a little, because I would rather be out here helping people instead of just sitting in my own room worrying about my own things. Because I want to be having as tiny or as large as possible impact on my community.
That's great. And have you already felt like you're having an impact?
I feel like I am more a part in my community, and it makes me happy to know that. Not only I can contribute in my community, but the world as well, right? Because I'm helping not just my community, but everyone in general.
That's great. Do you feel more pride in your community now?
Yes, I do.
That's great. And do you live in Fields Corner or in Dorchester?
Yes.
Excellent. And so, how has the program changed you, if it has at all? Has it changed your behavior at all?
I think I have always been interested in helping the community, so I'd love to stay that way.
I'm sure you will. And anything else that you can think about that you want to share with the audience?
Oh yeah, about the styrofoam cup things, I think it would be easier to use some other kind of material, but you shouldn't ban the styrofoam cup. Maybe reduce it slowly, because it would cause an outrage for people. Because some stores, say Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's, they use a lot of styrofoam cups, and it's the basic of their drinks. So I don't think you should ban it, and you should talk to the people around your neighborhood, maybe they have a different idea. Maybe they want it, or maybe they doesn't. If they share the same idea as yours.
Great. So Nia, in the last few minutes, you have an event coming up.
Oh, this is really important, and it's definitely a call to action. It's a call to action. We have a really big job. We're creating this outdoor arts and education learning space on Geneva Avenue. It's a small lot, but it's a lot. There's a lot in the lot. So on July 11th, this Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., the whole community will be out there helping us just clear out the space so that we can work on transforming it to make it a more beautiful and usable space in Dorchester. So this Saturday, I think the flyer, there should be a picture of the flyer. So this Saturday, 10 to 4, Fields Corner. It's right, the lot is right across the street from the Fields Corner Tea Station on Geneva Avenue. So you can't miss us. Like, we'll all be there. So please, I'm begging you. Now, and I'm bringing snacks. So there's going to be food, like, and music. Just come out.
Do people, do they need to bring anything, or can they just show up?
It would be awesome if people could bring a shovel, maybe your gardening gloves, and a smile.
And you said it's from 10 to 4, but what if people can't do it for the whole time? Is it okay if...
Totally. Come, stop by. Even just take some snacks. You don't, no, but really help us. But come, learn about what we're doing, pick up some of the weeds, and yeah, let's really do this. Let's make this happen. This is what Dorchester is all about, making things happen and making spaces usable, beautiful places. So. And
is there a way people can get in touch, and if they just want to be working on these projects in general?
You can email me at nia@VATV.org, or you can also call VATV directly.
And the number is 617-822-3717. So we do need to wrap up tonight. It's been a great show. Thank you all for joining me. I'm sure I know the audience was really excited by the topic. I don't think I've ever received 2 calls in a show before, so it's really excellent. So again, if you have any questions about tonight's program or the topic, you can email us at vatv@viataid.org, or you can email Nia directly at nia@viataid.org. Or you can call us at 617-822-3717. And please tune in next Wednesday for another discussion. Thank you for watching, and have a great night.